Hey guys, we're back with Thomas. If you watched the first part of This Man Minutes a week or so ago, we teased you a little bit and made you come back again because we got part two, and we'll probably tease you at the end of this too, come back for part three. But it's definitely worth breaking it into three parts because there's some rich, just rich content here that Thomas is sharing. So Thomas, I'm going to let you reacquaint everybody with the passage again from Hebrews 12. And then you covered the first, you talk about there's 5 E's in these two verses that you've kind of focused on. And then part one, I'm not going to share what it was because if this is the first time they're watching part two, they got to go back and watch part one. So, but won't you bring the verse back up and then move on to the next two E's? Yeah.
You know, we, again, if you're looking at Hebrews 12, 1 and 2, my verse of the year for last year, and it was, since we have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us lay aside every encumbrance and the sin that easily entangles us. And let us run with endurance the race that's set before us, fixing our eyes upon Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. And so I've looked at those E's and looked at 2 last week. This week I wanted to look at the 2 words that says, let's lay aside every encumbrance and the sin that easily entangles. Now, I'm quoting out of the New American Standard, so maybe a little bit different in other translations, but it's very similar. But those are the E's there: an encumbrance and then an entanglement. An encumbrance. Well, I'll go back first with the entanglement. Kind of the entanglements are and the sin that easily entangles. Entanglements is something that trips you up. It's something that it's almost like each of us have a pet sin, or each of us we're tempted in a way. Your temptation may be different than mine. We may have some very similar ones, but what may trip you up easily may not trip me up as easily, or vice versa in life. And every man has a sin that easily entangles them.
No doubt.
That it could be anger. I struggled with anger just horrendously when I was a kid.
Same here.
I've got a scar across my hand where I broke my hand by hitting a door.
I've apologized to my 2 sons over and over and over because I had such anger issues when they were younger.
Yeah, and some people, maybe it could be issues of fear. It could be issues of our thought life. It could be issues of habits that we may have. But I think I wanted to ask, as I run the race of endurance, is there a sin that entangles me? That this is keeping me from doing this. This is going to trip me up, and I have to watch for those things. And
it's like these cords out here in front of you and I right now. When you and I get up, because we're older, if we don't watch it and look for them, we're going to get entangled with them and fall.
Right. That's exactly and we probably know what those things are.
Right.
And we see
we see them right now. Right.
Yeah. And so I had to ask myself that question: what are my entanglements? What is the sin that easily entangles? And then what do I need to do to kill that sin? What do I need to do to have victory in that sin area of my life? And do what's necessary for that to take place. The other E was the issue of encumbrances. And an encumbrance was not a sin. It may become a sin, but it's something it's just a weight. You know, I remember the first time I ran a 5K race. I ran the Scottsville Run for Christ with a friend of mine. It was in October, or 1st of November. I had my sweatpants on. I had my sweatshirt on and stuff. And my first mile was to run a 5K. And I got up to finish line, getting ready to start. And right before the gun went off, there was this young guy who had sweats on, a sweatshirt. He took all that off and no shirt. Real skimpy little shorts. I'm thinking, what are you doing? It's 35 degrees out here. Guess who won that race? Yeah. It wasn't me. I had my hoodie on. I had my sweats on. The reason was
got rid of the weight.
And he got rid of the weight because those were weighing him down. Yeah. And what are the things that they're not necessarily bad, but they just weigh you down. They slow you down. And in some situations, they may not be even a weight. They may not be an encumbrance. But is there issues in my life? Are there things in my life that are weighing me down, that keep me from running that race? Wow. Then they may become sin, but really there becomes an issue of it could be a habit, or it could be I deal with shame. Yeah. And if I don't watch out, sometimes shame can wipe me out. And so it's each person has something different, and it's the weight. It's a burden. It's something that I just need to take that off. I need to get rid of that.
The guy that discipled me used to call it a necklace of anvils. Yeah. That just weigh you. I mean, if you had a necklace of anvils and the weight of that just pulling you pulling you. And you're describing it perfectly. That, I mean, when we can be aware of those the things that are weighing us down, and take that necklace off, and wow.
So if we're going to run that race, boy, it'd be wonderful to get rid of that necklace. And the race is before us,
Yes.
and so we want to finish the race. And I believe, men, I know I struggle with encumbrances and entanglements that keep me from running the race that God has got in front of me.
Wow, powerful. Okay, so we got one E left. We're setting you up.
That's right.
Give
Next week.
them a little taste for the next episode. So be sure and join us for that episode as we look at the last E. And as always, thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it.